Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this video I want to talk about realistic preparedness versus the fantasy that often a lot of people end up having. And this is mainly because of what's going on in Ukraine, given everything that we know is happening over there. Is Russia going to be invading or not? People don't know, but they're certainly worried and are making plans just in case. Before I go on, folks, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. You have a lot of videos already uploaded, and you can use the search function so as to find any specific topic that you're interested in. And of course, you have my books, 3 Survival Skills, Modern Survival Manual, and Bugging Out and Relocating. Now, specifically about Bugging Out and Relocating, this is probably a book that took me most time in terms of research, and it's strongly linked to all of this stuff. What you're seeing people do in Ukraine is pretty much word by word the kind of thing I described in this book. And it's not because I have any crystal ball or anything, it's just a matter of doing research properly and seeing what actually people end up doing when things go to hell. And as the title of the book says, what to do when staying is not an option. Russians are shelling your city, probably staying is not an option. I mean, you could go to a bomb shelter and wait it out there. Ideally, you wouldn't even be there in the first place. So here is where I'd like to get into the video in terms of the fantasy that people have and the reality. The fantasy of the prepper is, yes, I'm going to be focusing on having my guns, my battle gear ready for fighting the Russians, which by all means, I mean, if that's what you're planning on doing, go nuts with that. I mean, and good luck to you, my friend. I hope you get through that and you defend your town, your country. That's not the topic of this video. If we're going to be looking this from the survival and preparedness point of view, it is often the case that you just want to avoid problems. The best survival strategy is not being there in the first place. And even for the people, and again, I always try to focus on the channel reality, practical stuff. Even the guy that is planning on staying and fighting and having this stuff and putting all of this stuff to good use, even that guy will have to sort out his family, his kids. You will not want to have your loved ones when bullets start flying right in there in the middle. So this still is a key aspect of your preparedness. So what are the 3 things that anyone that is thinking of leaving Ukraine right now is focusing on? You're going to be having your suitcase with clothes, you're going to be having your papers, your documents, your passports, and you're going to be having your money, whatever cash that is that you have. That's the things you're going to be having ready to go when it's needed. Now, as I explained here in Bugging Out and Relocating, it's not easy to determine exactly how you're going to be going about this or exactly when. When it comes to relocating and bugging out, it's all about timing. When is the right time? Am I jumping too soon? Is this really not needed? I mean, is Russia not going to be invading after all? It was just all scaremongering in the media, or it's going to be happening all of a sudden. I think everything is okay, and it's just the media that they were just doing this for their own reasons, which probably a lot of that is going on. But all of a sudden I hear bombs dropping and I really have to get myself out of there. So how is it that you go about this? Well, you need to have a plan for that. I'm going to be going to point B. So my plan is moving from point A to point B, and then what I need for this is basically this stuff and that stuff there as well. For a lot of people, it's going to be about having a vehicle in good working condition and enough fuel to get you there, plus 20% give or take wiggle room just in case you need a little bit more. But these are the kind of things you plan ahead of time. So I have friends in across the border in Poland. How much fuel do I need to get there? Do I have things already there, or I'm just going to be throwing my little suitcase with the clothes and whatever cash I have? If I have more time, maybe I leave with a truck full of stuff with everything that I have. But if you have to go in a matter of minutes because you just ran out of time, or there's just not enough time to pack everything in the vehicle, in the car, in the truck, and go, then I'm just taking this, right? As I explained in so many previous videos, the VIP bag, your important documents bag, that's the little bag we have with your cash and your documents, your passports. I mean, when talking about the fantasy that people have in the prepper world, I've lost count of how many people tell me, I don't have a passport, I don't have much of documents, no, I'm not planning on doing this. It's not about you, it's about the reality that's been thrown and you have to now deal with. If you have no other option but to leave, then you will have to have these things sorted out. If you don't, you're gonna be the refugee. The difference between an expat and a refugee, believe me, it is huge. You know, the guy, yes, I'm an expat, you know, drinking mojitos on the beach and having a good time, while the other guy is running across the border, avoiding getting shot and, you know, going through hell and God knows what else, right? If you plan things properly, if you do have a well thought out strategies as to have this executed when it's needed, then the difference is going to be huge. You'll be the guy that you'll be the expat on a plane that lands and has, you know, everything sorted out and ready, and you're going to be the other guy that's just trying to run across the border any way you can and without any paperwork. The difference, having paperwork or not having it, that's the difference between being an expat and being an illegal immigrant. You do not want to be the illegal immigrant, you want to be the expat. And again, so many times that people tell me, no, I don't even have a passport. Should I get Italian citizenship? Why? I'm not even planning on using it. That's not the point. I mean, it's not even about you. It may be your kids that end up having to make this decision, and you save them from that very tough moment in their lives because you took the time so as to do all of this stuff for them. That's huge. I remember when I left Argentina, and it wasn't anything traumatic or anything like that, but most of all because it's stuff that, I mean, this is what I do. This is what I do for a living. I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm kind of not surprised by this sort of stuff. So when I ended up leaving, it was in very good conditions, more of the expat rather than the refugee, right? And yeah, I mean, people that saw it were like, damn, dude, you're living like this after leaving, what, a month ago? You're already settled, you've been living here your entire life? Yes, because I did things properly. I did things in a methodic manner, in the way I explain it here, right? And one thing that I'll always remember is that in spite of all this stuff, and we really didn't take a ton. I mean, it wasn't, we could have perfectly gone with that. Even without the fuel, just taking a cab to the airport and leaving, that's basically what it's up. But I remember the moment of touching my pockets in my coat, and in one hand I had I had my documents, and the other hand I had the cash and money. And I mean, as long as I had the plane ticket and passport, even losing the money, I was okay with, because I had other, eggs in different baskets sort of thing. So I had other tools to work with. But those were the things that I needed to get through that specific moment. And those are the two things that most people that think they are preppers or think they're survivalists probably don't have sorted out. They don't have sorted out their documents, their passport. They could have gotten a second citizenship somewhere else, and they couldn't be bothered with doing that because, man, I'm not gonna be needing it. It doesn't matter. And they probably don't even have much money either. How much money? Well, ideally you would have minimum is what, a couple months worth of expenses. Realistically, look at it this way. Enough money to buy a plane tickets, enough money to rent a place maybe for a year, and enough money to live for a year until you find a job or sort things out, if that's maybe what you'll have to do. So all of these things, if you do this ahead of time, if you ever find yourself in this situation, and it's not just about Russia invading, it may be a flood, it may be a damn volcano, it may be a bunch of other things, social changes in your country where you're no longer welcome in your home where your family has been living for 500 years. Yeah, sure, that may not be your case, but whatever, you know what I mean. things change, and the essence of being prepared is stuff that it's not comfortable or convenient. So why on earth would you be planning on, I really wouldn't like to do this, I'd rather stay home and just keep having fun? Well, maybe you don't have that option anymore. Maybe you have to evacuate in just a matter of minutes, because that's just what life threw your way. Okay, guys? So sure, all the guns, all the fighting stuff, you may end up needing it as well. A guy in Ukraine that's planning on holding his ground, or maybe getting his family out of the way and then coming back and doing his patriotic duty, or doing what he really believes he has no other option left, because it is people coming after your country, and you want to defend what's yours, which you're perfectly entitled to. You'll have to deal with that. But this stuff is also a key. This stuff is what right now most of the people in Ukraine looking at, will I have to leave? This is the stuff they've looked into. Final couple things to keep in mind. In terms of clothing, you probably want to go with synthetic stuff that dries and it's easier to clean. That just makes life a lot simpler, especially at first when you have to maybe improvise a little bit more, or just get by with fewer clothes. That's gonna be making life easier. Synthetics are easier to clean, easier to dry, and they're usually more resistant in general. And in terms of cash, you may want to have not only a good amount of cash, but also precious metals. Whenever you're talking precious metals, remember, silver seems to be a favorite among preppers. It's also very damn heavy. Trust me, even that little bag full of silver is really not all that much money. You will want to have maybe looking towards gold a little bit more, especially for the bugging out part, right? And of course, cryptocurrency, which is being stigmatized by the media. Whenever the media goes after something, it's probably because it's good for you, right? If I had to choose between gold and Bitcoin, by all means, I would go with Bitcoin every damn day, because it is a lot easier to move around. It weighs literally nothing, and I can just put it in any bank account in the planet with my cell phone in just a few moments. It's really a lot more convenient. I know that some people think it's a scam. You just need to do a little bit more research than that, but it's really one of those tools that I'm not saying it's the only thing. I will always want to have a good amount of cash. That is the thing that allows you to move around when you need it. But the crypto benefits are definitely huge. And again, it's not just me. It's me doing my research and finding out that people in Venezuela will tell you the same thing. People in African countries that have horrible economies will tell you the thing. And people in Argentina and South America in general will tell you the same thing. It's just one of those resources that gives you a lot of options. So guys, it's gonna be all for now. If you're interested in this sort of stuff, as I was saying before, bugging out and relocating, specifically about this sort of stuff, street survival skills, my latest book, and the modern survival manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse. See you in our next video, guys. Have an awesome day. Take care.